Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This week's discussion is on the Amazing Engine system by TSR. It was developed in the early to mid-90s, and it was an attempt to cash in on that sweet generic system income. It didn't work as TSR had planned, and it never really developed a following, though the system itself has its unique points. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that. So you just sit back, relax, enjoy as I talk about the Amazing Engine. Today we take for granted the idea of the generic system, the system that can run anything. Right off the top of my head, we have Savage Worlds, Fate, Powered by the Apocalypse. These systems can run anything. Back in the early to mid-90s, this was still a kind of new concept. Yes, you had Palladium systems, which, thanks to rifts and various other subsettings, had to be extremely flexible to be able to run everything in them. And of course, you had the granddaddy of the idea, GURPS, Generic Universal Role-Playing System. And then you have TSR. TSR is the granddaddy of gaming. And they had these new upstart companies, at least to their eyes, starting this new form of game. And so they had to get in on it. They had Dungeons and Dragons. Really, though they had other systems, Dungeons & Dragons is the one they were most known for. And so, they couldn't really use that, at least to their minds, to do a generic system. And so, they created the Amazing Engine. The Amazing Engine is a unique system. I would even say, in some ways, it's ahead of its time. So let's sit back and talk about this. First, the system was a rules-light system. Here is literally the core mechanics. Are you trained in this skill? Yes or no? Alright, you're trained in it. Roll a percentile die. Roll under your skill. Oh, you're not trained in it. Roll percentile die. Roll under half the attribute. That was how the system worked. You had 8 attributes under 4 markers. These 4 markers themselves aren't important for this discussion, nor the 8 attributes. What is important is you would rank each of these 4 attributes. First, second, third, fourth. And these main attributes, with their 2 sub-attributes each, would themselves not have any number values beyond the priority you assigned them. But that priority gave you bonus points to put into the sub-attributes. You would assign 4 sub-attributes on a character. That would get 4 die 10 each. The remaining 4 would get 3 die 10 each. You would total up the die rolls and then assign the bonus points based on the priority you would assign to the attributes. And from there, you would, based on this setting you were in, you'd pick your skills for your character, all that. And the settings were varied. had Magitech, a world where technology had never developed because magic got so advanced it fulfilled every single role of technology. You had For Fairy Queen and Country, a Victorian era fantasy setting. As in steampunk, before steampunk was really a thing, but with magic as well. You had Bug Hunters, which was a science fiction setting, and a dozen others. They range from high fantasy to high tech to cyberpunk, the whole gamut. And this is what made the Amazing Engine the unique thing it was. You had your player character, but, as I said, you assigned a priority to each of the 4 overarching attributes. That priority setting is what was called the player core. Now, you could use your experience to improve your skills, improve the sub-attributes in the game on a player character. You could use your experience points to increase your odds of success on a roll by temporarily increasing your rating in the skill. Or you could give bonus dice to the player core. It wouldn't affect that character, but you could give dice. 100 XP means, under physical, say, you could give an extra dice when you're rolling your physicals. So, say you play a character in Bug Hunters. You put a lot of experience points into your player core. And then the next game the GM runs with the Amazing Engine. He decides to run For Fairy Queen and Country. You now have extra dice, making a stronger character when you go into that, versus someone who just used all their XP on the player character in Bug Hunters. And then, say, from there, you jump to Magitech. Again, your character, your starting character, will end up being stronger. And this was what was neat about the system. Because the player core went with you, the player, between the worlds, while the player character was set for a specific world. The player character could die. The player core would endure. You put stuff into your player core, and you're playing Bug Hunters, and your character dies. Your next character's not as gimped as the starting character would have been, because they now have all those bonuses you had put in to the player core. And that is really what made the Amazing Engine system unique. I have not seen a mechanic like this in any other system. This idea that as a player, you carry something from your characters around with you. That by playing different experiences, your characters get to be a little bit better when you make a new character in that setting or the next setting. I mean, many systems, or tables at least, have the idea of XP rollover when you end up having to create a new character because one died. But the Amazing Engine actually made this a core part of the game. And that is why I felt this system needed to be mentioned. Because it brought something unique, actually unique, to gaming. Something that has not been replicated since. And I find it sad that no one has tried to work with that since. I would love to see someone experiment with that idea again. Who knows? Maybe one of you watching this video will try that idea. Of course, it is now the end of this discussion. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe down below. Next week, I will be back, and I will be talking about Werewolf the Apocalypse. So, see you all next week. Have fun, and keep gaming.